Ladies and gentlemen, Shay is about to come on and just blow your minds in terms of aligning with your greatest possible self, your energy, your beingness to step into your greatness. So definitely stay tuned. Get ready to be unlocked and awakened. And before we dive into that, I'm talking to you because you're becoming your greatest possible self here with us today on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, a 12-hour live stream marathon and podcast. So thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be your GPS. And thank you for choosing to take the steps, staying tuned in and plugged into the sources of inspiration, motivation, encouragement, and education to help you on your journey, specifically here and everywhere else. Whether it's tuning into Gia's content, any of the other guests who are on today, it is awesome that you are here and you're choosing to grow yourself. Next up is the iTunes review of the week. This week it is Joshua Lysick. Joshua says, "There's personal development, and then there's GPS. Chris, I loved your chat with Martha. Every tip to build rapport with romantic partners works in business. In love, you want yes. So it is in sales. Thank you for bringing on guests whose advice applies to 99.99% of life. P.S. You are so high energy. I feel the room come alive as I listen 100%. Joshua, thank you so much for giving us that review. And for you out there listening or watching, if you want the chance to get shouted out and honored as one of our amazing audience members, listeners, and people who support the GPS mission and make this platform come alive because of your participation, sharing, commenting, taking screenshots, all that great stuff, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store, and you can give us a review there. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, how we can improve this show for you, and thank you for being a part of this amazing experience and journey and mission to really bring more light, love, and empowerment to the world. Thank you for being here. I'm going to introduce Gia in just a second. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes because I know we're going to go super deep. So keep up. We're going to have a lot of fun and just being here. Honestly, like one thing I recognize about interviews and speaking is just being in the presence of the frequency of the words, of the energy. That is enough. You don't necessarily have to comprehend and understand everything at a conceptual level, logical level. The shifts and the transformations can still be happening and often do happen underneath the surface of the logical mind. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Stay tuned. Let's introduce Gia, and then we'll bring her on the screen. Gia has been a hypnotherapist for over 5 years after having graduated from the one accredited hypnotherapy school in the U.S., HMI. She is certified in trauma healing and handwriting analysis and specializes in trauma. Upon growing up in an environment where she experienced trauma, she understood enslavement both from others and also from herself. She understands pain on every level and knew intuitively that there was a better way. If you desire to overcome or achieve, these are her focuses in helping her clients step into their greatness. She has helped groups as large as 200 and also one-on-one sessions in person and virtually. In 2020, she desires and is going to assist at least 1,000 people to step into their greatness. And we're here to help her facilitate that dream, make a bigger impact, and share her light and love and gifts with the world. Gia, are you ready to rock the house, Superwoman?
I am ready. I'm ready.
I love it. We're going to have a blast. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that we got to make this happen from the very first pre-interview call. I just felt like this loving, nurturing flow energy from you, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm grateful that the continual gestation of this interview happening had happened at its perfect pace, so really thank you for being here and for being patient with me as we got you scheduled on the marathon. I'm just really, really grateful to have you here, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. So let's dive right in to an extraordinary life. Gia, what does that mean for you?
Extraordinary life. I think that such a great question. I think that we all are, every single human being, actually everything on this earth, in my opinion, is a complete miracle. And I think as we recognize the miracle that we are and step into who that is, that's nothing short of extraordinary. It's just to keep alignment and pace with the miracle that we already are.
Boom shakalaka. I love it. Just starting with hey, the work is already done. You're already a miracle. Just
Yes.
own it. Just let it
Yes,
land.
own it.
Just let it sink in.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. Great response. Thank you, Gia. And let's talk about your hypnotherapy. You're specializing in trauma, helping people achieve results. Tell us a little bit more about how you're serving the world with your gifts today.
Well, would you like me to explain a little bit about what hypnotherapy is in case your audience may not know about it?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So why this is so impactful, what we can bring our clients when we're doing hypnotherapy is from like 0 to about 10 years old of your life. Your brain is growing, it's creating, it's forming. And within that time, you're putting in all your first experiences. So first time you got a hug, first time you ate ice cream, like whatever it is, your brain is logging in all these first times. Now, by the time we're 10 years old, we've got pretty much a lot of firsts at that point. So when between that time of 0 to 10, we have nothing to bounce that off of. After 10, we can bounce off, yeah, I had an ice cream when I was 5. I know what it tastes like. So the challenge is from 0 to 10, your brain, our brain, is logging in all those first experiences as good. Now, if you have the best childhood in the world, that is good news. You are going to be that miracle, that extraordinary life. If you grow up and dad was a little bit tough or mom wasn't very present, then those get logged in as good. And that's why the woman is always following the bad guy. You know, she knows the bad guy is not good for her, but in her mind, that is representative of something when she was younger. So she just repeats that pattern and repeats that pattern. And then she starts to feel less and less of that miracle that she was created to be. So in walks in hypnotherapy now. And this is what I love, because we can go into that wonderful subconscious that is really your best friend. It's doing what it thinks best for you. We're making 90% of our decisions by our subconscious mind. And so your subconscious mind is telling you to go after that. We go in there in hypnosis, you're totally awake the whole time, you're aware, you're just so relaxed, your conscious mind is relaxed, so that we can start to go in there and change that programming. So now we can go into the brain and say, I really do want the good guy. And we can build that, and then that woman or man, vice versa, whoever, can go forward in their true self, stepping into who they truly are, which is, as you say, extraordinary. So I do that because I come from a trauma background. I know everything that comes with that one, or I think pretty much almost everything. And so I love to go there because I think that can make us hide. It can make us retract from the world and not be that miraculous creation that we are. So I love to work in trauma. I love people to see who they really are. Stop living the story, live who you are. And beyond that, it can pretty much work in whatever capacity hypnotherapy can, whether you're trying to achieve a big goal in life, you're trying to achieve something as an entrepreneur, you're trying to achieve something in sports. Like, it doesn't matter. Or if you want to overcome something from the past, you're not living in the present, you're living in the past. We can just quickly rewrite all that stuff and set you on the track that you should be on.
So good. I love it. I love how you explained hypnotherapy. I love how you, really said, stop living the story, live who you are, right? How do we erase that story? Some people would wish it was as simple as just telling ourselves affirmations. And there's a way to access the subconscious mind, to reprogram it, to rewrite those files, to rewrite the thought patterns, which show up as beliefs, which then turn into like emotions and actions and results. Like, that stuff is changeable in the subconscious mind. So Gia, before we start getting into that stuff too, and maybe we'll dive into it on your journey, I want to go back into your journey and talk about what inspired you to become a hypnotherapist. When did that really begin for you?
Okay. So for me, by the way, Chris, thanks so much for having me on this show. I've listened to some of the interviews and it's been so beautiful to hear the questions you're asking. They're so specific. And so I just want to give recognition to you and the work you're doing, because it's really evolving and expanding all the time, and it's beautiful. So thank you for that. I wanted to take a moment, if you would allow me.
Thank you.
And as far as what brought me into being a hypnotherapist, well, I grew up with some crazy stuff that happened when I was younger. And because of not knowing how to reconcile all of that, I just pretty much I put it on myself. So I was the screw up, I was the mess up. So, I mean, drugs, drinking, like fill in the blank of all the bad stuff I did, because I thought I was the issue, the mistake, the problem. And then come about 7 years ago, I moved from Orange County to San Diego. And I don't know if it was that shift. I still to this day do not know. But it just seemed like things started coming forward. My repressed trauma from my childhood came forward. And because I grew up with a family where both of my parents, they ended up having cancer and passing, and I took care of them, I didn't want to go the same way. I was struggling with depression, suicide, like fill in the blank of the bad stuff, not sleeping. And I thought, okay, I could take this pill for the rest of my life, or I could realize that I'm not the problem anymore and I could heal. And that's when I just realized I was going to commit 100% to this healing. And as I got through that, of course, when you open yourself up, the answers come. And so a very good friend of mine, she was a therapist, she did EMDR. It helped me tremendously. It's very good for anyone with trauma, seek EMDR. And then at night, because I couldn't sleep because all these trauma memories were coming up, I would listen to meditation and hypnosis, and that would allow me to release all this stuff that was coming up. So instead of a pill that was going to have all these side effects, I just let it go, one after the other after the other. And so that's when I saw my subconscious mind was playing a big part. And as I healed, and I saw a lot of people going through therapy and got stuck, like I did for years. And then I saw I was just gliding through it really quickly. And the difference is at night I would let it all go instead of holding that energy, that horrible energy within my body. And so when I saw that other friends of mine were getting locked up after therapy and I was flowing, that's when I thought, okay, this is an issue. I want to become a helper here. So that's what led me down the path of seeking hypnotherapy.
I love it. So the EMDR, that's more of the releasing, and then the hypnotherapy was more of, it's almost like it was shaking it up, uncovering the stuff, and then the hypnosis is releasing and rewriting for a more empowering program.
Yes, it's kind of both. So EMDR and hypnosis are pretty similar for the most part. In my experience, what happened with me is through EMDR, it allows you to just bring up your subconscious, whatever's there. And so these things would just come up, like really a whole different story than I was telling myself. So these memories would come up, and then I would have all that energy, that's really dark energy, brings anxiousness, the suicide, the depression, all that stuff. And so at that point, I utilized hypnosis to let it all go. EMDR brought up all the vivid memories. And then at that time, because I didn't know the power of hypnosis as much, I used EMDR to rewrite a lot of it. But yes, both can do the same thing. It's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. I'm going to ask a personal question, Gia. I feel a very, very beautiful, radiant, light-heartedness about you, a very flowing energy. And I also feel to access that light, that love, we also have to be willing to go into the shadow and experience that and process that, release that. I'm curious, how was your journey of being willing to go into the shadow, and how do you relate to that and that trauma? And even today, after releasing so much, how do you relate to it today as a new place of awareness and consciousness and dance with the darkness and the light?
I love that question. So I'm grateful. I'm really grateful. Yeah. I, I, everything that happened, there's nothing but gratitude going back to everything that happened. I look at, because something I will say is that in my trauma, I actually had fragmented myself so much that I had multiple personalities. And so bringing all that back together, all of these parts of me took some massive work. And that's not something someone feels comfortable talking openly about. Yeah, I have these different people inside of me. But as I learned to love myself, instead of putting the blame on myself, as I learned to love myself, see myself as that miracle, then I started to see everyone as that miracle. It doesn't matter if we're holding a shadow, as you're saying, that dark energy, if we're holding on to it, doesn't still underneath, you're still that miracle. And so we've just forgotten. Some of us have forgotten, or we're replaying a story that was given to us by someone else. I could have very much so turned out to give back what was given to me as dark. But instead, I knew there was more and there was a shift there. So I think that, yeah, I'm very grateful, because I think that it's just a part of all of us holding space for each other and help, like you're doing here. You're helping so many people turn from that darkness to light.
And also I hear you identified as the darkness and were concerned about these, different personalities or aspects of you. And it was like you were afraid of, like, what does it mean that there's these different parts, and like, am I normal, and like all the judgment and shame and whatever else would come up. And then through your transformation and like more consciousness, more loving yourself, you started to more embody that you are the miracle, you are the light, you are the love. And of course there's the darkness that comes with that, but you are not defined by the darkness. It's a aspect of you, as is the light. But like the deeper truth, I feel like, is the infiniteness, the infinite love, the infinite presence, the spirit, the source, the God, whatever that is within us. And I think you just started to remember that that's who you really are.
Yes, that's it. That's it, Chris. I think we're just forgetting. Like I'll tell you about this dream I had the other day, because something else I have in hypnotherapy is I can teach people how to use their dreams for them instead of just letting them happen. So anyways, I had this really amazing dream the other night. It was right before, you wake up, where you have those crazy dreams. Yep. So I had this dream where I was right going into sleep, and I started dreaming about Al Capone. And I knew in my dream, it's the craziest thing, I knew in my dream that it was going to be a violent dream. And all of a sudden in that dream, I said, I am rewriting this dream right now. In my dream, I said this. And so what I ended up doing in my dream is I took Al Capone to the beach, because I like the beach. So I took Al Capone to the beach. Then I had his whole gang come to the beach. And for some reason, I was the leader in this whole thing. So I told Al Capone and his guys, his gang, to apologize to each other for all the bad they did to each other. And then once they did that, and they're all hugging and loving on each other and the whole thing, I'm sorry. Then I got all the families that they hurt. Wow. And I had them come onto the beach and have a big old sorry, forgiveness, love fest. And it was the best dream ever. But I think that that's who we get to be every day. Like a story of Al Capone, if we're watching that stuff, it can affect us, bring the dark energy. Or we can say, no, I'm going to rewrite this right now. And I'm bringing I'm bringing the light. I'm bringing the love. I'm bringing the stuff that builds, not tears. So
what does it mean for you or the world that you did that for Al Capone and his gang and all the families?
Gosh, Chris, I think part of me, I'm still figuring it out. I do not know, but I think that something beyond me completely happened. That's what I can say. That this part is a little new for me, but I will tell you that I think that rewrote history in its own way. And then that morning I woke up and I told myself, I'm like, I don't know what day I'm having today, or was going to have today, but I'm deciding if I can do it in my dream, I'm rewriting my day right now. Today's going to be a fantastic day. And that's now how we go forward.
I love it. I love it. Gia, this is super, super cool. I love that we're diving into energy and taking what life gives us, these signs, these experiences, and how do we like really own who we are? How do we own that we are the creator of that experience of the life and the interpretation and the meaning that we give things? Can we dive into a little bit more about like the subconscious mind and how it might be affecting and influencing us and what we need to know about it, especially with all your experience with hypnotherapy and understanding how the subconscious mind works, and what do we need to know to get into alignment with it to create more success, to heal, and be our greatest possible selves?
I think the way you started your marathon this morning was a powerful way. I think meditation is so incredible because that's how honestly we should all begin our day, whether we're praying to God, aligning with ourselves, however it is, but just spend 30 minutes at the beginning of your day to stop and realize the day you're going to have versus just walk in your day and let everything affect you. Stop and align with yourself, align with the miracle that you are, and then go into your day. So that's the first thing. Now, if anyone is going through patterns and they're repeating this pattern in their life, that's a good time. You can try meditation with visualization where you go a little deeper and you visualize different. You all the senses, you bring all the senses into the situation, like feel, taste, all of your senses, and bring them in a scenario that rewrites this pattern or this story. You can do that too. So you can meditate, you can visualize, and all of that can help you. The affirmations will help, but if you've got a deep pattern, that's when you want to look to hypnotherapy. That's when you want to look to something having to do with subconscious. There's psyche, there's hypnotherapy. Just look up any kind of modality having to do with the subconscious, because it literally can shift in the moment that you can put an intention in your mind that's different than the one you're playing. And so that's where you just rewrite the story and step into who you are.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. You mentioned different modalities, meditation, psyche, EMDR, like there's all these different ones. How do we know which one's the right fit for us or what we should, take the leap into, invest in, explore? How do we know?
Meditation is completely free. You can find 1,000. Just go to YouTube and look it up. You can contact me. I will help you. But it's something I think everyone should do every day. I don't even think that should be, if everyone could meditate every day, can you imagine what a different world we'd be living in? Wow. If anyone's listening, just meditate. But that would be the biggest thing I think everybody can quickly do. EMDR, that's good for trauma. Hypnotherapy is good for trauma, but you want to find people who specialize in trauma if you're dealing with that. But I think that any of those really go into the subconscious. Psyche, EMDR, hypnotherapy. They go into your subconscious and allow you to be in the driver's seat. My husband gave me a quote today. I love it. It said, the bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. And so if you can stop and meditate, put yourself in the driver's seat versus letting it just fly, then you get to decide the day. You get to decide how you live your life.
If someone is not experiencing the results that they want and they feel stuck, they feel like they're not like achieving the goals that they want, is that like, is trauma almost always like the case that there's something there that we would call trauma that is blocking them from stepping into who they really are? Is that pretty much the logical conclusion and what most of the time is happening?
Yeah, trauma is a stuck energy within the body. It stays in the body. So I have clients come in my office and they'll come in my office to lose weight, for instance. So when I start hearing anxiety, when I start hearing depression, when I start hearing all of that. That's leading me into, okay, there's trauma probably there.
Mm.
And so then I'll even just have them close their eyes. They're not even in a hypnosis state. And I'll say, okay, when you think of this problem, let's say, I'm not worth it. Okay. I'm not worth it. Think of that issue and then close your eyes and breathe and see where that energy is holding in the body. And when you can breathe and you can figure out if it's holding around your stomach and you're overweight, then you know if you work at that trauma, you're going to be able to work out that weight issue too. And so it can be a lot of times for me, I think I'm just brought people with trauma because I specialize in it.
Yeah.
But it could be as simple as I had a client the other day. She was scared to ride her bike. And it turns out that she was going to go on a mission trip or something in Africa. And so she was going to go on a bike ride up to this volcano and she wanted to go on her bike, but she was scared. So we went into hypnosis. Turns out dad was really harsh on her when she was younger. And because of that, she constantly thought life had to be hard. And so in 3 sessions, we just walked her through this, have her let go of this story of life being hard, have it instead be it for her in abundance. And she sends me messages even today, like, I can't believe it's working. I did this, I did that. And so whatever it is, we'll call it a block, we'll call it trauma, but we just need to remove the block and then you're going to flow. You're going to be who you are. It's actually pretty simple.
Why? What is it that most complicates it for people? Are they unwilling to change? Are they unwilling to do something different? Like, I'm sure it varies from person to person, but what do you find is the biggest block for people to removing the blocks?
That's a good one. I think what it comes down to is sometimes just knowing that that they've agreed to whatever story that they've been told and they're living, and they've been living it so long. There's so many pathways in their brain that just automatically go straight to that whatever block it is, that's just who they are. That's their story. And so when you start to break that up, your ego, your brain wants to tell resistance, wants to put you right back to this because your brain's actually trying to protect you, but it's living out a story, a past story that isn't helping you anymore. And so your brain is going to say, this is safe. We go here. And that's when the subconscious work really helps, because then we go tell that part of you that's saying we stay here safe. We say, no, this is not the story anymore. This is the story. I am strong. I'm not weak. And we rewrite that. And then you set an intention in that subconscious. I am strong versus I am weak. So that every single time that person goes in their life and they feel weak and they say that intention, I am strong, it brings back that same feeling of strength that they had in hypnosis. They build that pathway, working through that resistance that ego's telling them this is safe. As they build that pathway, then that will become the main pathway. So you're always going to have resistance as you go toward a goal because your brain's trying to tell you it's safe. But it's also just got to turn it and flip it to where you want to be. And it's actually just start building the pathway.
So subconscious reprogramming can take a variety of different shapes, whether it's like hypnosis or even if it's like affirming or visualizing, different things like that. I love what you said about, if there's a pattern that you keep experiencing, then, instead of just like affirming, they might need to meditate and visualize and like take a whole body experience to that creation that you want to create. And then at a deeper level, if there's like just super traumas, then like that's when the hypnosis comes into play. What I'm getting for myself in this conversation is, I think for me, a lot of my like success has been comfortable, right? Like I've been very, when it was easy for me, that's when I did it. Like showing up on social media, Facebook, that became easy. Speaking on stage, that became easy. Initiating, my story is at least, initiating became the part where I fell short at, where I didn't meet my targets, where I didn't, reach out to people, connect with people, do enough, right? And where I fell short. And so I'm seeing like, what is the cost? I think I really get clear on the payoff that I get of staying here and the cost if that continues, and get super clear on that. And then also, what's the benefit of not staying here anymore, changing my actions, like really dedicating myself wholeheartedly into probably the one thing that I think would make the biggest difference for me at this stage is like totally aligning on a daily basis with that visualization of who I am and how I'm going to show up in the day, kind of playing out the day in my mind. So I'm like connected with that versus Chris, like you are, it's almost like, how do I want to explain it? It's like, Chris, you're enough. I pretend that I am smart enough, I'm good enough, I'm capable enough by just being me. But underneath that is the fear, if I give everything I've got to use these techniques or whatever it might be, or reprogram my subconscious mind and go for this, what if it doesn't work? What if I find out that, I'm not enough? What if I find out that I'm a failure, I'm a loser, blah, blah, blah. The conversations go on. I think that's the thing that I've been bumping up against so much. It's like I've attained a level of success that most people are like, damn, Chris, you're on fire. And deep down inside me, I'm like, nah, still haven't made it. Still feeling like I'm missing the mark. Still a conversation of loser going on. What can I do to shift that? So I think for me, this is a really powerful conversation to recognize, what does it look like for me to go all in on being and embodying the Chris Burns that I know I'm capable of being, and that the world and the people around me deserve.
Wow. Do you realize what you just shared? Gosh, that's some beautiful energy.
I think even in sharing it, I don't allow it to land, like I'm sharing it as, okay, well, I'm sharing it, but it's not going to make the difference. So let's share it. And there's still more work to be done. I haven't yet made it because I'm still not doing the thing yet. And so I think for me, it's like, thank you, Gia, for reminding me to let it land, because that was so fucking powerful and profound, like to just share that and recognize that and acknowledge that. Like, Chris Burns, like, you just said, here's my shadow. Right? Like, here's what it is. Here's what I'm like totally, I have been ignoring or pretending like it's not there. And even when I spoke it, and I've shared something like this, things like this before, like I would diminish it. I would say, oh, it's just a small minor share. And like, is it actually going to make the difference? So in the background of my mind, the place that I'm sharing it from is, well, it's not going to work anyways. And so I appreciate you pausing to say, let it land, because it is working. And just by me being present to it, by me putting the spotlight of conscious attention and love for myself, I am a miracle. I am capable. I am smart enough. I am able. I am enough. That is enough.
That is enough. Right there. That is powerful. That is so powerful. And can you imagine what you just are breaking through right now, what you're bringing to everyone? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anyone watching this, that's someone stepping into who he truly is right there. That's it, right there.
Yeah. I think it's the willingness to speak what I'm afraid to speak, and then the layers that I've seen, because I think everyone's at a different place on what layers that are going on, and I've spotted things like this before, and it's like when the doubt comes in, the criticism comes in of even the moment of authenticity and vulnerability. It's like, oh, I've done this before. Like, come on, don't let yourself like cut your feet out from underneath you and cut away the feeling of wholeness and like goodness and like grace. And I feel like the grace that comes with that, the love, I feel like that can happen so fast, even for people who are in personal development and are doing the work. Like it can be so easy to like immediately say, oh, no, that wasn't it. I'm not there yet, da-da-da. And so like to really be aware of that and have the compassion, even when we're sharing, it's important.
Yes. And that's what you just did is a perfect example of rewriting right there. Rewriting. And you brought so much love into it. That's the highest vibration, right? Is love. And so you bring love into that energy that's weak and low level. You're rewriting it because that's the higher vibration. So I love that. That's my favorite part of this interview so far. That's miraculous right there. And I have to tell you, I understand and I have to give gratitude to you because I've helped people, and there was this little voice in me that was still saying like, I can't help people. And so even though the track record is there, I still had this voice saying, I can't help people. And it was just recently that I realized that I was just holding on to that. And I put a smoke screen up of, I just don't know technology. I just don't know social media. I put that smoke screen up, and I realized what was happening is I was allowing scarcity to come in my mind because of this feeling like I just can't help people. And so I kept thinking, okay, I just need to get this many clients. I just need to have this happen. I just need this and that. So scarcity, right? And it was just recently I realized I'm looking at this all wrong. I prayed a little bit and I realized I'm looking at this all wrong. Like what I have can help a lot of people. And so at that point I realized and I thought, no, then the goal is how many people can I help? Instead of how many clients can I get up to, it's how many people can I get out there and help? And so because of your help, even in this interview, and because of that realization, that revelation, I've decided to put out a big promotion. I'll wait till you ask about it. But it was my own transition from I just can't help people. And I was giving into that story versus look at all the people I helped. At that point, it doesn't matter how many reviews, how many clients, how many because it was my own story I was writing, right? And so it was just recently that I rewrote that. And it's why I am so grateful I'm here with you.
Yeah. I think for me, what has really helped me in breaking through to whole new levels, even after we transform, I think we can get back into our comfort zone, right? We can stretch. Oh my gosh, feel free. And then life happens. We're like, okay, yeah, cool. And we start to contract a little bit if we're not actively embodying and sharing that transformation. I've found that like sharing the transformation that happened is the way to keep it alive and to keep regenerating it and reminding ourselves of who we are. So even, sharing it on here is awesome and it's amazing. And I think for me, my next level is to continue to share like where I sabotaged myself and sabotaged like that I have everything that I need, right? And share that with people in such a compelling way and open up this massively authentic space for them to just be them and whatever they're going through. And for me to like embody who I'm embodying so that no matter what I have to offer or support them with, or however we can support each other and grow together, it's who we're being that creates the fruits of that relationship, of that synergy, more so than logic and, just trying to achieve an outcome. It's like being attached to the outcome of, here's how I'm going into the conversation. Well, I got this, and this to offer. No, it's like coming in wonder and saying, hey, here's something I've been breaking through, and here's how it's helped me. And like, what are you going through? How are you showing up in life? How are you being? Like, what's really going on?
Yes, I love that. How can we hold space? We just show up as our highest and best self at that moment, and we give permission for someone else to hold space for themselves to be their highest and best for that moment. I love that you shared about wonder. I would tell people, I'm like, let me play in my sandbox. Like, let me just play in my sandbox. When we were kids, it was like we created a whole story in the sand in the playground. Like we were creating our lives in that moment. It was real. And then we get older and our brains tell us like this whole reality thing going on. But if we can still be those kids in that sandbox or that playground and, like you say, come in a place of wonder, then that's what we'll get is nothing but wonder, right?
I love it. In awareness, meditation that leads to awareness, so that we're tapped into our intuition, we're tapped into our being, we're tapped into the emotions, we're tapped into the senses and sensations of our body. So we're present. And
Yes.
when we're not present, we can't be the miracle that we are designed to be. There's some layer, there's something that's covering us up, some layer of mud or programming or whatever. And so I think the wonder really brings the presence in the moment.
Yes, I agree with you completely. And even just what you said, like through meditation, aligning ourselves, centering ourselves, being present. Because I was watching a little bit of what Missy said before this, and this is what I learned in meditation is that when you're in it, you're not like separated from it. When you're in it, then you're attached to everything, the feelings, the bad, the good, whatever. But when you're in meditation, you can actually push off this feeling or this event or whatever. You can put it in front of you and then in awareness, look at it and say, this is actually really silly that I think I'm not good enough. Like, how silly is that? I'm a miracle. Why am I doing this? And so when we're able to do that, like you just said, then we're able to say, okay, I'm not going to give into the story anymore. Right this moment, I'm choosing different. And then when those deeper patterns come up, then you come and see me. Or you come and see Hypnotherapist and help that person help you rewrite it. Because you're doing it anyway. Like, I love it. I'm helping my clients. I tell them all the time, like, I'm guiding you, but you're doing the work.
Yep.
You're the one doing it. And so just teaching people to have the tools to be their greatest self.
Yeah, your soul is already on the journey. Like, whether I'm here or not, like you are going to keep doing your thing. You're going to keep evolving, you're going to keep healing, you keep stepping into the miracle that you are. And thank God, thank universe, thank creator, thank all the alignment of spirit that we crossed paths, because now we can accelerate each other, right? You have benefit to share with me. I have benefit to share with you. And together we can create even more magic, even more love.
That's the goal, right?
Yep.
That is exactly it. In our souls, we know we're doing that, right? Our highest selves, that's who we truly are. That naturally. When we can come into this humanistic body and feel all these good, bad sensations and still show up with that, that's miraculous.
Yeah, that's I feel like the divine dance of the cosmos, right? And living in our human experience, remembering who we truly are, what we truly are, how we truly are. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I remember when we had our interview and you and I were talking about just the meditation or the prayer that you and your girlfriend had that morning.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then I was meditating and sending love across the whole entire earth, and love. I was just sending a love bomb. I call it a love bomb. Like, just, we got to do stuff like that. We just got to keep doing that. And as we do that, it shifts. It brings the vibration up more and more in life, and that oneness.
I always love to hear about people's futures and the things that they're creating. And I mentioned in your intro about 2020 and what's on the horizon for you in 2020. Tell us a little bit more about what you're most excited about to be creating, to be growing into. I know you mentioned about a promotion. We'll definitely get to that when we're wrapping up. But I just want to hear what you're most excited about in the next year, the next couple years that you're creating, that you're growing into.
Yeah, I think right now my focus is just I want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Now I'm not giving into that story I was telling you. Now it's really just about how do I give people the choice to let them know they have an option to help themselves, help them step into their extraordinary, step into their greatest self, step into their miracle. And so that's my goal right now, is just to bring awareness that, hey, there's help out there. You get the choice to take it or not. So that's the first thing. I think, I want to align myself with people like you and other people who want to bring their greatness. I think we all need to lock arms together and really help build this stronger than all the news that we see out there if we're watching it.
Not me,
I think
not
that,
you.
yeah, like if we're watching it. But I think that that's where we need to shift things. So I think Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Dr. Greg Braden, like all these guys, they're helping us see that we can shift all of this. And so I think to step into myself in this way is huge, more and more, and to continue. I want to evolve for the rest of my life. Like for the rest of my life, I'm going to be dealing with my own little shadows that come in, and I want to play that game, my ego game, and then I want to shuffle it out and say, no more. We're going to evolve a little bit more today. So that's my goal, is to keep doing that the rest of my life. I'm a Christian. I want to keep evolving in my relationship with Christ. And then my husband and I, we want to travel around the world.
Yes.
So our goal is, I can do my work anywhere around the world, right? So we want to start taking like months in different countries.
I love it.
And be able, because when we travel, we start to see the different cultures, the different ways people show up for themselves, and we learn a lot. Like when I was in Italy, I thought, I'm never going to drive again. I'm going to walk all the time. That didn't happen too long once I got back. But it did for a little while. But I think the more and more we travel and we start to open ourselves past this bubble that we're in here, or I do, I tend to see the wonder. Like when my husband and I went to the Cliffs of Moher, it's my favorite place in the world. I looked out at the cliffs and I saw the beauty right before me. And I just started crying, just thinking of how beautiful life is, and took a breath there and thought, okay, this is all beautiful. And then we are as people. Wow. What? So I think we want to travel all around the world and just get caught up in the wonder and learn a ton, and then be able to send that love out to everyone, and then continue to do hypnotherapy, align with other practitioners. This year, I want to help at least 1,000 people in individual sessions be able to step into who they are. To take a little bit, to stop telling that story and to step into who they really are.
Man, I love it. I love it. And I'm just going to send some love to that vision right now. So it is. Gia, I am super excited to see that vision come to life. And real quick, before you share about this promotion, because I'm stoked to hear about it, I want to hear what are the resources, partnerships, skills, things, or experiences that you see you get to manifest. You are creating. You're excited to create in the next year to make that impact on the massive amount of people that you are excited to make.
Can you explain that a little bit more? I'm so sorry.
Yep. Resources, people, skills, experiences, events, growth opportunities for you. What gets to happen so that you can step into that version of yourself who impacts 1,000 people over the next year and more?
Well, I think, again, taking off that story, now I am working on putting a campaign out there that will bring awareness. And I think just a lot of it through social media, but then also I am working with a, a ton of wellness professionals where we are kind of locking arms, referring business to each other and helping each other really grow. We've talked about doing an online workshop where we're going to allow people to hear from just people who are part of this expansion, and they're healers, and give tips and tricks and different things to really help them expand. I think I just, in every way possible, just want to think of ways to get the word out, to bring awareness, to give people the choice. I think I see it really coming through social media this year.
I love it. I love it. Super exciting for you to embody the version of Gia that is the social media master, the social media, just wizard, or I don't know which is technically a good term, but the positive and empowering and loving sorceress of social media.
Thank you.
the goddess of social media, goddess Gia, and all the good things that you're doing. So it's really, really beautiful. And tell us a little bit more about this promotion and what you're excited to be sharing, if we can learn about it in this conversation, and what next steps that we can take with you.
Well, I've held off on announcing this so that I could do it on your show, actually. And so what I decided to do is, some people have questions about the hypnosis, what it means, what it does. They might be a little afraid. They've never experienced it. By the way, I should say, if you have ever read something and you get lost in thought and you come back to and you realize, I just read this paragraph, I don't know what I read. If you ever drove and passed your exit because you were lost in thought, those are all examples of hypnosis. We go in and out of them every day. And so for those that still don't understand or question it, the promotion is I'm offering a free first session for anyone and everyone, which is normally $125 for free. So that's where I think I just want to reach anyone who wants help. Wow.
You are incredible, Gia. I'm going to tag you in the comments on Facebook. And for everyone who wants to get a hold of you, we got to let them know, how do they take those next steps. And definitely when you contact Gia, let her know that you found her on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, because this platform is awesome and we love to help people get their message out. And just let her know how much you loved the interview, what was the biggest takeaway, and then get that session scheduled. And Gia, how do they get a hold of you? What's your contact info?
Well, you can go on my Facebook, social media, at I Am Hypnotherapy or at I Am Hypnosis. You can call me at 415-851-5585. There's also my email, but I think through Facebook is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
And I'll be posting that free session up there as well too. And on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm under Gia the Healer.
So amazing. So we are wrapping it up. And by the way, everyone, take Gia up on that session. My goodness gracious, that is just such a generous offer. And, just the space that you held for me, and just being here, like I felt safe and held and able to share what was coming up for me. And so I really, really appreciate you holding that space and being so generous and loving and empowering in who you're being. And also I want to wrap up this conversation with a final takeaway, what you want people to get and implement and just be in their lives. What do you want them to remember, Gia?
I just want anyone listening to this to know you're sacred and you're so special and you're so loved. And if any part of me saying that brought any resistance on your end, then breathe into that and look for. So my business is I Am Hypnotherapy, and it's the I am. What are you saying after the I am? And so if you breathe into that, and there's a negative, there's a shadow, as Chris and I were talking about, then that's the time to do the work. You can call me up. It's a free session, or just do the work. Like, meditate, just commit to it, because you're sacred and you're special and you're a miracle. And we all need you to step into that. We need you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gia, thank you so much for being here, sharing this wisdom, sharing this love, sharing this awesomeness with us, with our tribe. And excited to continue the journey and lighten up the world, reminding people that they are these massive miracles, and all the gifts, everything that we need is already within us. We just get to remember that. And thank you for the reminder. Thank you for bringing us to this present moment so that we could remember that. And it's been an amazing interview. Everyone who's tuning in, connect with Gia, get that meditation, that hypnosis session scheduled with her, and just watch your life transform and unfold and become this beautiful miracle that you are. Gia, thank you so much.
Chris, thank you so much. You are burning it up here. This is amazing. Thanks for allowing me to be part of it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you soon, okay?
Okay. Bye-bye.